Hi guys, so today I want to share a recipe with you that it's a light recipe. I make it once in a while. Today's a really cloudy day here in Hawaii. We've been in quarantine from this virus that everyone's waiting to go away for the longest. And you know, watching our weight, watching our pounds a little bit. So just want to use some fresh light ingredients with some lean fish, put a little meal together, and let's get started. So what you will need for this is carrot, a little celery, we got 4 people in our family, so I got 4 fillets over here, some garlic, some lemon, onion, cilantro or parsley, your choice, whichever one you like, whatever you got in the fridge will work. Bay leaf. If you like a little heat, you can use some of this red pepper flakes. I got these beautiful tomatoes. They were bought them about a week ago. Costco sells the big boxes, and we got a box of them, and you know, that's a perfect way to use them up. They're really flavorful now. They're nice and soft, right? I got a little saffron. That's also optional. You don't have to use it. I just got a little bit, like the flavor. Put it in a little bit of water, let it steep. So what we're gonna make is a tilapia tomato sauce. Tilapia and tomato sauce. So what I will need spatula, paring knife, my chef knife. I'm going to need a fish spatula, and you will need a pan, something similar to this. Don't use cast iron because you are cooking with tomatoes. Cast iron will take your seasoning away from your cast iron pan. And you'll need a pot of water for peeling the tomatoes, to get the skin off the tomatoes. So what you will do, I already pre-washed these. What you will do with the tomatoes, you get that water going, it's boiling, okay? You turn it up high, and the tomatoes, you take the core, the top and bottom, or you can just do a little cross, like so. You take this out, okay? So you got 4 tomatoes ready to go. You got nice hot water boiling right in here in this pot, and it's almost at a boil. That's fine. You just drop them in there, and you give it about 2 minutes. 2 minutes will do. While you're waiting on those 2 minutes, you just get a little ice. Okay. Set that over here. Let's get rid of this. We don't need that. Then we'll start with our carrot. Knives always sharp, very important. So the way you cut a carrot, just cut a little piece off, so then you can stabilize it this way, right? It's stationary, it's not moving around. And then you do your slices. So I'm sure a lot of people know about this. All the cooks use it. It's a must in the kitchen, but I'm just gonna mention it anyway. Safety is really important, right? Nobody wants to cut themselves. So when you place a cutting board, make sure you wet some paper towels and you put them underneath so your cutting board does not slide. Then you can do all the chopping nice and easy, safety. So the tomatoes are almost ready. As you can see, they've been boiling for about 2 to 3 minutes. You can see all the tomatoes, you know, everything's visual, cooking is visual. So they're boiling, the skins are kind of cracking off, peeling away. You just dump the water out, place them in your ice. Okay, and just let them sit. Bring them over here. We can start with our onion. Not to have any waste. If you just chop the end off, you're wasting a big chunk. So not to waste with your paring knife, what you can do is cut a little piece out. So there's almost hardly any waste. I mean, one onion when you're doing, it doesn't really matter, right? You're not saving that much, but you know, hotels, when you're doing 100 pounds of onions, 50 pounds of onions, it all adds up into a good amount. So we go with the onion. We're gonna chop it up really fine. As fine as you can go. Okay, so the onion gets chopped this way. First you go 1, 2, 3. You don't go all the way. Okay, 1. You can do 2 or 3 slices, but 1 is more than enough. Then you go this way. So this is how fine you want it. You see, kind of once you break it up, little dices, that works. Okay. So you just take some fibers off. As you see, I just took just off the top with your knife. You kind of take a little bit of fiber off the celery. Get rid of that. And then fine chop, everything nice and fine. So when your sauce is going to be, everything's going to be kind of equal. No big chunks in there. All right. Okay. Those in there. Okay. By this time, your tomatoes are nice and cool. So what you do is just take the skins off. You see they peel right off beautifully. Okay. Blanch the tomatoes in hot water. Then you shock them in ice cold bath with ice, so the skin just peels right off. So you just took your tomato skins off, dumped them out. What we do now, the seeds, they don't really have much flavor. So, and it's too much water. You don't need all that water in the seeds. So you just squeeze some of that out. Okay, you leave the tomato flesh. So you got this beautiful tomato. This tomato is so fragrant because it's completely ripe. And this is just a perfect way of using it up. Just a fine chop. I mean, a little chunky, you know. Nothing too crazy like that. All right. Okay. So, what we want to do, nice beautiful tilapia. What we'll do, we'll just give it some cuts. Let's get cuts on a bias like this. Okay, so just like that. Okay. Beautiful. So the fish is all cut up, it's ready to be seasoned. And before we start seasoning the fish, by the way, this ingredient is optional, it's all up to you. You know, makes the cooking a little more funner, more interesting, and you can experiment. Again, this recipe is very versatile. If you like olives, you can put some Kalamata olives, chop them up, put them in the tomato sauce, tastes great. If you like capers, you have capers, you can use capers in there, perfect. So you can really play with it. Same thing with herbs. If you have cilantro, a little basil. By the way, I do have some basil. So what we'll do is, all right guys, so very fortunate we have a little garden growing here. So just thought about it. Why don't we add some basil to it? Basil will be perfect. Tomatoes, basil does not hurt. So just don't use the stems, you know. Just take the leaves off. Just take them off like that. Then you can cut them really thin slices called chiffonade. I'll show you how I do that later. So, oh my God, it smells so good. Right off the plant, unbelievable. Maybe one day I'll do a little video about this Aero Grow Garden. It is amazing. I was very skeptical. I just got it a few months ago, and look at these plants. I have 9 different plants growing there. Really easy to take care of, and you don't have to go to the store all the time. You have, plants that basil, parsley, dill, cilantro, anything that you like to grow grows in there. I could vouch for it. It really works. I was skeptical. I really was. So, fish is cut up. You're just gonna do a simple seasoning. You can, again, salt and pepper is kind of basic. I'm gonna put a little garlic powder, but it's all optional. If you like, and you can use Old Bay, the pre-made seafood seasoning on there if you like. But I just want to go a little simple, no crazy flavors. I want this fish to speak for itself, give its own flavors, and this little light tomato sauce that we're gonna make together, I want that to speak for itself as well. So I don't want to go with any crazy seasonings that I might overpower the dish. Sometimes less is better. So. Our rice is boiling. We'll make the heat a little lower. A little pepper. Freshly ground black pepper. Cannot beat it. Okay. All seasoned to taste. A little garlic. Mix everything up. Okay. Easy. Really easy. Okay. Fish is ready. All right. Constantly have to wash hands when you're working with fish, meat, chicken especially, any poultry. Wash your hands as often as possible. All right, so we're ready to go. I got some olive oil. I'm gonna go in a pan with that olive oil. The pan is already hot. So what we'll do, I'm gonna sear some of this fish. Okay, I'm not gonna cook it completely. I'm gonna just give it a little color, and I'm gonna put it back in a plate. And then we'll make the sauce, and then the fish will go back into the pan. So you have 2 options. I chose the stainless steel pan with this handle here. This is oven safe. So what I'll do, you have options. You can put a lid on top when the sauce will be done and the fish goes back in, you put a lid and finish cooking it that way. Or for a little more consistency and for letting it cook all throughout, I suggest putting it in the oven. So you would set your oven preset it, because I'm starting to cook everything. I'm gonna preset my oven to put it at roast. I'll put it at 375. We'll start it, let it start heating, okay? And we'll start with this fish. Fish will splash maybe a little bit, that's fine. All right, we're just gonna sear it. For the fish not to stick to the pan, you want to do in small batches like that, that's fine. You want to make sure your pan is hot. At first, the fish will stick to it. Let me show you. So, you see at first, that's it, it's stuck. If I'm going to try to pull the fish away, I'm going to break the crust. It's not going to look present, it's going to leave. A big chunk of the fish is going to stay in the pan burning. So what you got to do is, you just got to let it, medium heat. And once the fish is ready to be lifted from the pan, it will release on its own. So you could just check once in a while. Is it ready? No, it just takes a few minutes. Okay. Each piece might take a little different time. They're not all going to be ready at the same time because they have different water consistency in them. They're thicker, smaller, no matter how much, consistent you try to be, there's always going to be a thicker part in the fillet and a thinner part. They have different consistency in water. So the thinner part right here, look with the fish spatula, ready to come off. So, look, you got beautiful color on it, nice and golden. So, in its spot, we can put another piece. Then we check this one. Beautiful. This comes right off. Maybe this one. That one's ready as well. So we go with that. and this. Medium heat, not too high. We got rice cooking there, so it'll be a better rice. I mean, we're trying to go as healthy as possible, but for just video purposes and to make it look good, we'll put a little rice on there. So what we have here, as I said, so we got your cooked fish. All you're looking for is a little bit of this color. That's all you need. You're cooking it on one side. It builds flavor. It's caramelization of sugars. Everything has sugar. Any protein has sugar. So when you cook it, that's the flavor. Some people just put the fish in the sauce without searing it. You can do it as well. The fish will obviously cook, but it'll be more steamed without that caramelized meat or fish flavor. So you're looking for this little touch. It adds a little tone to it. So what we do now, basically we got our mirepoix, you know, the basic trio, the French trio, carrot, celery, onion, and that goes into the same pan where you cooked your fish with that olive oil. Goes right back in. And you're gonna cook it down, you're gonna sweat it. You're not really looking for any caramelization on the vegetables. You're looking just to sweat them, to make them translucent, to make them nice and soft. So, get it in there, stir it around. Okay. Ah, it smells amazing. Okay, so our bay leaf can go in. We're gonna add a little salt and pepper. What salt will do, salt will draw the moisture out of the vegetables and they'll cook a little quicker. If you're just gonna caramelize them, you don't really have to put the salt, but we just want translucent, nice and soft vegetables. So some salt in there, a little pepper. Put the pepper to get a head start. Start opening up those aromas and the flavors. Okay. All right, so we're still sweating the vegetables. So it's all up to you, you know, how fast you want to take it, but just don't caramelize them. So you see what we're looking for. There's no caramelization in the onion. But I'm just to be nice and translucent. What I will do is, I'm gonna add some garlic, chopped garlic to it. So I make my own. I just peel a whole bunch at a time because I use a lot of garlic in the house. So what I do, what restaurants do, is they don't, for each ingredient, for each dish, we don't just go and chop a little, 2 cloves, 3 cloves. A whole bunch gets chopped, or you can buy pre-chopped. You put it in a Vitamix. You want to be in the video too? Look, we're cooking over here. Come over here. Look. Help me stir. Go ahead, take the stir. Oh. Nicholas is a big helper. He likes your help too. So, yeah, good job, good job. Okay, so we're cooking the garlic. And, wait, you want something? What do you want? You want to eat something?
Yeah.
What do you want to eat?
Oh, I'm gonna go get out the sandwich and play with me.
Okay.
How are you sad?
Yeah, so kids, you know, they're in the house. Quarantine again, so.
21.
So as I was saying, so garlic, I'll make another video. What I do with it is I take a jar, I take a whole bunch, put them in a Vitamix, add oil, that's the key. Chop it all up, pulse it, or you can use, if you don't have a Vitamix, you can use any blender that will work. And then just chop it up really fine, add oil to it. As long as you have a little bit of oil on top, that prevents the air oxidation, so the air doesn't mix with the garlic stays nice and fresh for at least a week. So that's a little trick that I do. So you're welcome to do it as well. Restaurants use it all the time. All right, so I'm just cooking it down a little more. And the next step is tomatoes. tomatoes are ready to go in. Okay. So cooking is always judgment. No dish is ever going to be same. You will always have variances. It all depends, how ripe were the tomatoes. Were you using, beefsteak tomatoes? Were you using plum tomatoes? Were you using, it all makes a difference. You can use canned tomatoes as well. So it doesn't, these tomatoes they're sweet. I know they are, they're ripe. But if I wasn't using ripe enough tomatoes, I'll probably be adding a little sugar to them. Maybe not much, but maybe like a teaspoon just to balance the acidity. But in this case, I'm not gonna have to. What I will be adding is, now I see the color on them, so I see that's not gonna be enough. I don't have that enough redness for that red sauce. What I will add is a little bit of tomato paste. So cooking is smell, feel, visually. You have to improvise all the time. Unless you're making that same dish with the same ingredients in your restaurant every single day, then you kind of have everything laid out. But if you haven't made something in a long time, and you might be using a different tomato, you always have to think, always improvise. So I saw that even though this tomato is really nice and ripe, but the color is not there, as you can see. It's a little bland. So, and even though it's sweet, why not boost it up a little bit with a little concentrated tomato paste? Okay. We're gonna let that cook. We're gonna turn up the heat a little bit because we got a lot of moisture in the pan. We got a lot of tomatoes, the vegetables. Now the moisture can be drawn out, right? We talked about that. I like it a little on the spicier side, so I'm gonna add a little crushed red pepper. All right. Let it cook down. So what we'll do here is we're gonna chop some of our beautiful basil up. So I'm gonna chiffonade, sharp knife. If you don't cut it with a sharp knife, what's gonna happen is it's gonna turn dark because you're kind of bruising the herb. But if you have a really sharp knife, it's gonna stay that nice green color. So that's, a little trick. Knife's always sharp. Plus, the sharper the knife, the safer you are. Your fingers. So, some of these vegetables, some of these herbs, I'm gonna put in the sauce, but I'm also gonna reserve some for garnish. So when the plates are all done, I can just sprinkle some of these beautiful herbs right on top. Get a lemon ready. Tomato. So you want to cook it, control the heat. You want to cook it down a little bit, let everything kind of caramelize. Again, tomatoes, they have a lot of sugar. You want that flavor to be completely, for them to give as much flavor as possible. And the way you do that is by cooking it, stirring it. Don't let it burn, but the more you stir, the more you cook, the more intense the flavors will be. Okay? That. Maybe a little more salt. Our little saffron, again, that's optional, but see, when you set in the water and you let it sit, it kind of blooms. It's a flower, so it blooms. Warm water, don't put, not hot, it doesn't have to be hot right away, just warm water. It's ready to go in. Okay, we're almost there, so this is what we got so far. Okay, we got this tomato paste cooked. Everything's done. I see it needs a little. I saved some of that tomato juice. Put it back in. We need it. So it's not as thick. So it goes back in. Lower the heat. A little water. Perfect timing for that lemon to go in. Alright, we're making fish, so lemon, tomato go really well with the fish. Again, it's optional, you don't have to. Catch all the seeds. Our beautiful sauce is cooking, so always taste, you know, Needs a little salt. Okay. Adding the pepper. Our herbs can go in. Again, you're going to reserve some for garnish. Like that. So the tomato's been cooking probably for about, we cooked the vegetables for about, I would say 8 minutes. You can control the heat. You can cook them a little faster, a little slower. The slower, the better. I mean, for steam, when you're trying to get that caramelization, you need high heat. But just to sweat the vegetables, it does not have to be high. That's 8 minutes to sweat vegetables. That's perfect. Okay, touch more because it's going to go in the oven. We're going to need that moisture in there, and we can start laying our fish out like that. All right, so you laid your fish all in there, just like that. Doesn't have to be submerged all the way, and your oven is nice and hot. It's ready for it. 375. You put it in there. And the timer, you can put it for about, let's say, we'll give it 15 minutes. And we'll check. It might be 15 minutes, it might be, depends how thick your fish is, it depends how hot your sauce was, it depends the size of your oven, the temperature. Just because I'm setting at 375, you might set at 375, but your oven might be a few degrees off. So again, cooking, everything is visually. You cannot, every single dish, you might have the recipe 100% down. You come to somebody's house with the same ingredients, they have a different oven, the outcome might be a little different. Again, you have to pay attention to tastes, visual, smells, and all that. Use all your senses. So now it's a waiting game. 15 minutes, we'll check, and we'll see where we are. Alright guys, we got only a few more minutes left before the fish will be coming out of the oven. Should be nice and ready. We'll check on it, but I think we got maybe like 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm gonna start pre-planning. This is what I usually do. Take some plates, the amount of people that are gonna eat. What I do is I put them in a microwave. This time we got 4 plates. They all go in there, and you can experiment. For me, I know it's about 3 minutes. Get the process going. And the plates are going to be nice and warm, so whatever the food that I put in there, it's not going to cool the food off right away. The food is going to stay nice and warm while the people are enjoying it and eating it. While I was waiting, what I did some garnish. I got the herbs cut up, a few lemons, and checked on my rice. The rice is all nice and cooked, so it's all about the setup. We only got a few more minutes left, and we'll be enjoying our lunch. Oh, beautiful. You know what? Kind of feel it. The fish, so what you're looking for is, you can always take your little paring knife and break into a little piece of fish, but I can, by touching it, I can feel that it's nice and firm and that it's cooked. So since it came out of the oven, I'm going to keep my towel so I don't forget and grab onto the handle. All right, so now what we're doing, you get my rice, fluff it up a little bit. Okay, nice, beautiful. Just plain white basmati rice with a little, it had a little olive oil and salt. That's about it. Really basic. Okay. Oh, nice and warm. That's it. They were sitting out for a while. So we'll eat with our ice first. So if you want to go a little extra, you could just scoop the rice right into the plate. But if you want a little extra presentation, you can take any shot glass or anything that you have in a house that would resemble the shape, a cylinder that you would like your rice portion to be. You can do something like this. But what I did, I put a little bit of olive oil on the inside of this glass so the rice slides out a little easier. All right. Okay. Ready for a pan. This beautiful sauce. Okay. Just like that. Okay. So this dish, you can make it with any white fish. You can use pollock, you can use Chilean sea bass, you can use, any white fish will do. I would not make this with a salmon or anything, but definitely any white fish will do. Okay. We'll clean it up a little bit. Okay. Time for some garnish. If someone needs a little lemon, they can squeeze their own. And voila, there you go. The whole thing probably took, I would say, about anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Let's see how it tastes. We'll experiment with Nicholas first. Let's call Nicholas and see what he thinks about it. Nicholas, come over here. I got something for you. Come on. Come on. All right, let's see. We want to sit down.
What?
Here. Come on, it's fish. You like fish? Sit down.
Fish.
That's lemon. You don't have to eat the lemon if you don't want, but try the fish.
This is fish?
Yes, fish and rice. Come on.
I want the rice. I'm gonna cut it into pieces.
Okay, come on. You like it? Huh? What do you give? Thumbs up? You sure? You gonna eat the whole thing? You're gonna do a dance, really? It's that good, huh? Whoa. Okay. All right. So let's see how it came out. Wow, so simple. Just a few ingredients. It is delicious. I'm telling you, just follow the recipe the way I did it. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments and I'll answer them. It's really simple, really tasty, and really healthy. We'll be making more videos, and I hope you'll stay and watch them and enjoy what's more to come.